kind of like went right over me. Not over me, I understood it. I just didn't think it was funny.
Hi, and welcome back to our channel. We are CineChix. I'm Jen.
And I'm Christina. And before we get started, you know we're gonna ask you, be sure to like the video. It's right there. You're already here. Just go ahead and like it. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to our page and hit that little notification bell so you know every time we post new videos. Now, we are going to be talking about The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. It was directed by Patrick Hughes. So, what did you like about it?
There's not much that I liked about it. I liked Ryan Reynolds. He was being Ryan Reynolds, and that's about it. That was... What'd you like about it?
I did like Ryan Reynolds. I did think that some parts were funny. I did think that the movie's pacing was fine. I felt like it's a very go to the movies, forget about everything, and have fun kind of movie. So I guess that's a positive because I feel like up until now, a lot of the movies that were coming out were super serious. And this one is literally like you go in, forget about everything that's going on, and just like have a few laughs. So I thought that was cool. So
I agree with that. There were a few laughs. I'll agree with that.
So, what didn't you like about the movie?
Well, I felt like the pacing was kind of all over the place just because it was like nonstop action and all. It felt like it was like the entire movie was a montage of like action and montage after montage. The editing was all over the place. It was like super quick cuts, made me a little bit dizzy. If the editing had been better, I think it would have made the movie as a whole a lot more enjoyable, because I did go into it not having any expectations, knowing that it's gonna be like a dumb comedy, Ryan Reynolds action film, and I was totally fine with that. And even going in with zero expectations, I was still let down. I just felt like they didn't really try with the CGI, even though they had like such a big CGI budget. It fell flat. You could tell when they had the stunt doubles, you could tell when they had stand-ins for the actors, because for whatever reason, the actors couldn't always be on set together, and a lot of people speculated that it was because of COVID, but that's not the case because this movie was already done before COVID, so that's not why it was. And they had the same issue in the first Hitman's Bodyguard, where they used a lot of like stand-ins, and you could tell whenever they just plastered on Ryan Reynolds' face on like another dude's body. It took me out of it because I'm like, I could tell when the editing and the CGI and visual effects weren't like up to par, which I figured with the budget they had, like they could have done it. Some of the jokes were good, but also there were a lot of jokes that just didn't land for me, and maybe I'm getting older and that's just not my kind of humor. I don't know. I also felt like they were trying to be a couple different movies, because Ryan Reynolds was being his comedic self, being like goofy and weird, and then they would cut to like the guy that was in the FBI or the CIA or whatever, and that felt like they were trying to be like some super spy movie that like it didn't mesh well together, and it was just kind of like a weird thing to put those two types of genres together, I guess. Also, I love Selma Hayek, but I felt like they underutilized her because the directing that just made her the cliche, like sexy Latina that's always like yelling. And I'm like, Selma is so much better than that. And I know that it's not her fault. It was like all the directing telling her to like yell and be the sassy Latina girl. And so like that annoyed me because I just love her too much for her to be like a cliche. What didn't you like about it?
Well, like you, like a handful of the jokes did not land. I didn't think they were funny. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting old, or maybe it's because I'm like not 12. So like maybe, like, because I feel like some of the jokes were like very like 12-year-old boy like would laugh about it.
It was so, yeah.
And, like, you know, so a lot of the humor didn't, not a lot of it, I won't say a lot of it, but a good chunk of the humor kind of like went right over me. Not over me, I understood it. I just didn't think it was funny. You are completely right about the stunts and the stand-ins, because I don't understand because you can definitely tell when they're using stunt doubles, and then for the stand-ins, like, it was the one shot in particular, he was just on, like, it was like a high shot kind of, and he turned around. Ryan Reynolds couldn't film that. You can clearly tell it wasn't him. The hair was a little darker and the guy was a bit whiter. So like,
Yeah.
you could tell it wasn't him. And also, you can tell when the audio wasn't matching. Well, not matching, but like,
when it was ADR.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the person either would not be moving their mouth. It's not like they'd be on screen the whole time, but it would cut over late enough for you to know that the person wasn't actually saying that. And I know they do that in movies all the time, but I've never noticed it this much as I did in this movie. And I don't know if it's like, because, you know, we're both, you know, I work in post-production, you work in post-production, and like, we both do our own things outside of that. So I don't know if we're seeing these things because like of what
I
we
wonder.
do, or is it really like something that stood out?
Do the normal viewer, do they like notice these things, or do they even care? Probably not.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you're an average viewer who has no ties or anything into the industry. Just let us know if you've noticed any of these things, because it could just be like the fact that to a certain extent our eyes trained to, like, I don't know, notice these things. So maybe that's just what it is. But those are all my dislikes. What are your overall thoughts about the movie?
Oh, as a whole, I didn't hate it. It was a dumb action movie. If you're just going to like escape the world, then fine. But even if you go in with zero expectations, expect to still be let down. What are your overall thoughts?
I mean, same as yours. Like, it's a great movie if you want to just go in, forget about everything else, just want to have a few laughs, have a little fun. Don't go in with any expectations. I went in with the expectation that it was going to be stupid, so I really wasn't let down by anything, or like, you know, I was just kind of like, oh, well, this is exactly what I expected it to be. But yeah, it's a fun movie to just kind of forget everything. It has its issues, but out of everything that's come out so far, I feel like this is just the movie that people seem to want right now with everything going on. And
yeah, it's just a dumb escape movie.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a dumb escape movie. It's not great.
Do we recommend them seeing it in the theater or waiting for home?
I think that you can wait for it at home. Honestly, it didn't need to be up on the big screen.
I agree. It's if you really are just like dying to go to the movie theater, there are other movies that you could see that are better. I would wait for streaming or whatever.
So if you agree with us or disagree with us, leave it down in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with everyone you know, and be sure to hit that little notification bell so you know every time we post new videos. And that will be more frequently now that the movies are back open.
Until next time.